Sure, it's again the rematch of the 2021 World Chess Championship, so this one might also be a little bit personal for both of the players. Also, again, these players are from the same generation. They're both born in 1990. As we speak, by the way, we're off. And again, like they've played in World Youth Under 12 Championships.
They go way, way back, and Jan actually had the lead in their head-to-head history until that World Championship match when it was a one-sided victory for Magnus. We have a Petrov, and for this match, I'm wondering, is Jan going to try to be more solid, or is he going to bring his chaotic brand of chess, which has scored him some fine victories in his career, but also can backfire if you play a little too loosey-goosey?
Yeah, I think he's going to try to stick to his style, try to play aggressively, especially with the white piece against Magnus. He wasn't quite able to do so in the match, but that is also very impressive from Magnus's part.
We see Magnus is eating his lunch, so he's just taking it step by step, but I agree with you. The reason why we call this position a bit boring, so to speak, is there's no pawn tension. Only one pawn has been traded per side, but we haven't seen anything of note in the symmetrical structure. So let's see how this one develops. But I wonder, Benjamin, do you think it's match strategy for Magnus, not just to get his meal in at the start, but to sort of see what Jan wants in the opening stages?
Yeah, and I think it definitely makes sense to see what Jan wants. Jan has been sticking to his guns. He played the Petrov defense. He played that in their World Championship match as well. I'm not too impressed so far with Magnus's opening choice. I think Jan is doing fairly well. I mean, Magnus has these slightly more active pieces. However, this knight on c3 can sometimes be slightly misplaced as it's currently restricted by the pawn on c6. Queen e2, I like the move by Magnus as h6 would invite a sacrifice over here. The knight of a nice move by Jan, and look at the clock, Robert. Jan does this very well. He's already up on time, and perhaps Magnus might be struggling a little bit with this because normally he's the one putting pressure, and Jan often is the one putting pressure on him.
Look at this position. The rook gets the open file. e6, that's a good square for them both. So whites, so far, the pieces feel a little bit more fluid. There's a more natural set of squares for them. But ultimately, yeah, I'm not super impressed with what Magnus has done. And yet, he wins games just like this, that seem unwinnable, that seem like nothing. He'll probably knight e5 here, and then it starts to seem like he's going to go for a bit of initiative.
95 seems like a nice move, putting the knight in the middle. I wonder if Jan can take on d4, but that does look fairly risky, and there we see it with 95. Now perhaps after knight takes d4, maybe Magnus can take an f6, you're going to have to recapture the g-pawn, and at the very least there's something like queen h6, you can also take a d7 and take an h7. So I suppose staying on d4 is too risky for Jan, and maybe he has to play something more solid like bishop d7, because for them, oh, and wow, there we go, Robert.
But we were saying at the start of the show, you can't afford blunders or sort of crazy chess if it's not objectively strong against Magnus Carlsen. That earned a question mark, and I think it's simple. Bishop takes knight on f6, as you mentioned. You have to take with the pawn on f6, and then even just take on d7. Black's pawn structure is going to be worse. I love what Magnus has been able to achieve from what looked like a nothing opening.
b3, the position might be manageable here, because where do you actually go with the knight?
This was a mistake from Jan. He should have pawn. Instead, he's backtracking, but look at Magnus pushing for an a5, followed by a6 was a threat, and that's why Black played a5, but that's a long-term weakness. If that bishop slides to c7 at the right moment, a5 could be a target.
But look at the clock. Magnus down to 4 seconds. Jan has to be doing well here. But let's see if he can create some problems for Magnus. I think Magnus, objectively, he should be doing fine. Like, it's opposite color bishops. These pawns are blocked over here on the queen side. It's difficult to make use of them. But the clock...
He's barely getting his moves off. He's 2.9 seconds after that move. You gain 1 second of increment, everybody. I think bishop f4 was a good choice. That bishop go to e3 or to g5. It will block the black rooks. And now Magnus might play b4 himself and start trading off pawns.
Yeah, so let's see how Jan is going to try to do this. Rook g6 check, I guess, with bishop to g5. He does rook to c8. Perhaps aiming to set his pawns in motion, but for now you can't, as it will hang the pawn on d5. And with the move bishop to g5, Magnus is actually creating that threat. Oh,
rook to c5.
Yeah, pawn.
Yes, because it wasn't available a move ago, because rook g6 would have been checked. There's no check against the white king. The rook on c8 is loose. Now Magnus, he can go from a position where he was worse to potentially one where he can try to outplay Jan, although with bishops of opposite color, this realistically should just be a
but h5 was a great move there. h5 again, instead of, because you cannot take. And now...
Yeah, he's setting up h5. Now h5 is a big threat.
Right, so king e8 therefore by Jan. Okay, so now we have h5. A couple moves to let Jan just takes it. Okay, king g3. This game, probably a draw, but it can still go either way with both players getting a little time.
And here comes the f pawn. I said they weren't good, but pawn f.
Oh, rook
g4 takes g5.
Wow, what a blunder! And rook takes f5 is just a game because you can. Wow, and Jan Nepomniachtchi takes.